Hello everyone, welcome back. Savert is here, coming back with the last part of What If Deku Had Air Cannon. And now where we last left off, All For One is flying in front of Mirio, Overhaul, Stain, and also Stars and Stripes, as he got angry after knowing that Overhaul was the reason for Mirio coming back after just putting his body back together. And immediately All For One said, "Alright, now I will show you the real power of mine, the power that made All Might himself get scared. And now I'm done playing around with you idiots, so prepare to die," as he immediately lifting up his hand into the air. But before we get right into it, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's just get right into it. As All For One lifting up his hand into the air, powering up One For All in his body for 100%, using air cannon covering his whole arm, using more quirks like fire and other kind of quirks, just combining them all into one big giant ball of energy inside the palm of his hand, as Izuku inside his mind is still disintegrating and he's still going to disappear, to disappear after a couple of days, maybe hours, maybe after this fight he will just gonna disappear. But he is trying to stop All For One from using whatever he's trying to use, but with no hope. All For One determination is so strong than Izuku that he just can overcome Izuku trying to stop him. And after that, Mirio seeing this, he said, "We need to stop him, Stars!" As immediately Stars said, "Alright, Mirio," as she jumped into All For One, and immediately she pistol on herself another quirk, being of course like a quirk cancel, to cancel anybody quirk that she touches. But before she managed to come closer into All For One and touch him, suddenly a black tentacle of his quirk activation quirk go flying out of his right arm, because he's right now lifting up his left arm into the air to use this massive amount of power, and with his right he just uses his tentacles to stop Stars, as she immediately being stops and All For One just throwing her into the side, and she immediately stop in the middle of the air because she have the second order being flight. And right now, immediately Overhaul seeing this, he said, "We need to stop him. Do you have any ideas?" As Mirio said, "I have one. Throw me there. Overhaul, throw me." As after that, Overhaul said, "Alright," as immediately he got hold of Mirio and throw him into All For One. Immediately, he started going at him, and All For One immediately throwing his tentacles, but with no hope. Mirio just passed right through them, and before he managed to just hit All For One in his face, suddenly a purple portal opened up between his the leg of Mirio and the face of All For One. But immediately Mirio saw this coming, so he just faced right through the portal and immediately hit All For One in his face, which immediately made All For One go a little bit into the left side, but with no hope. He's still determined to use this attack and immediately got hold of Mirio leg, but Mirio just phased right through him, as after that he go back into the ground, and of course Overhaul jumped down too, with the Stars and Stripes, and Stain just jumped down because he really can't go into the air or fly. As immediately after that, All For One said, "Alright, now I'm gonna show you that you are nothing more than just insects," as he immediately throw this ball of energy inside the palm of his hand into the ground, as immediately Overhaul put his hand into the ground, trying to make a wall in front of him and in front of all the other heroes and as much as possible of people. While that happening, immediately the other heroes with barriers quirks and other kind of quirks trying to protect themselves, while of course Shigaraki and Kirigiri has teleported away with Giganto and Dobby, of course. Immediately the rest of the people, or the rest of the villains, are just being obliterated by All For One attack, and immediately the buildings around the place start to get destroyed and start to just collapse on themselves, and Overhaul trying to keep his hardest, to keep this wall of rocks in front of his face and in front of everyone else, covering him and Stars, Mirio, and Stain. In the end, immediately All For One stop using his attack and just go into the ground, as after that immediately the sky color have turned red from the massive energy that he just used, as after that All For One start looking left and right, seeing the heroes protecting each other, but some of them has already died, and also Overhaul trying to protect his own team of Mirio and the others, while he's just standing in front of them, and on one of the a little bit far away, Giganto, Dabi, and the rest of the League of Villains with Shigaraki and Kurigiri are just holding back, going a little bit away, as after that immediately Shigaraki said, Master, we should, as after that Kurigiri said, Shigaraki, Master All For One told me if anything like this happened, I need to get you out of here. As Shigaraki said, no, Kurigiri, we need to. But before he managed to continue immediately, Kurigiri just teleported, of course, Shigaraki away. As immediately he said, the rest of the League of Villains, do you want to go? As after that, Dabi said, you want me to go back now? No, I'm not going back. As after that, Kurigiri said, sorry, but there is no way I will be able to leave you here, as he immediately teleported the rest of the League of Villains, including Gigato Makia, into his forest. And after that, All For One is still standing, and immediately he starts flirting electricity, crimson electricity around his body, and lots of rubble around the place start to move up into the air and just to fly, as All For One is just standing on one of the rocks and said, alright, now show me what you have, Mirio. You are the successor of One For All after all. Or maybe you're not anymore. Now show me! As after that, immediately All For One throwing lots of rubbles on every single hero and just using some sort of a telekinesis ability, start collapsing the buildings above each other, breaking everything around of him without any holding back. He's just destroying anything and everything that could possibly be in front of his face. As after that, Mirio and Overhaul and his rest of his team are just under one of the barriers of course, Overhaul, as Overhaul said, I can't hold on anymore, Mirio. We need to do something about this. As Mirio said, yeah, but the question is, what is it? I'm gonna try to go there and... But before he managed to continue, Stars stopping him and said, Mirio, before you go, take this. As she just touching him and said his real name, Mirio Togata. From now on, you will be able to fly. As he immediately thank Stars about this and immediately going flying through the barrier of Overhaul into All For One. All For One seeing him flying at him as he getting surprised, but Mirio immediately hitting him inside his stomach and going right through him, immediately going back after stopping in the air and going back into All For One, hitting him again in the back of his back, and immediately start going left to right, above his head, from down, and also from his back, in front of his face, and everywhere, as All For One start getting angry and said, why won't you die? As he immediately, without any holding back, he just blew up with crimson electricity around his whole body, and more heroes start to hold back and just to protect each other. While that happening, Overhaul is just behind with Stars and Stripes, and also immediately, of course, the Stain, as Stain said, we need to do something. If I manage to get close to him, I'll be able to paralyze him, but the question is, how can I get close? As after that, immediately Stars and Stripes said, well, we need to think about this. Overhaul, do you have any ideas? As Overhaul said, well, I would really like for someone to erase this idiot. As after that, immediately, of course, Stars said, wait, erase? You're right. As she immediately started thinking to herself a little bit and said, you know, just touching, of course, Stain, and said, Stain, from now on, you'll be able to teleport to the place that you can see. As after that, immediately Stain said, wait, you are? As she said, alright, go there and paralyze him already. As after that, Stain said, but how this work? As, of course, Star said, well, just look at him, and after that, think about yourself being close to him. As Stain said, I think I understand what I have to do. As he immediately just, after Overhaul opening the shield a little bit, he immediately look through the hole and look into All For One, as he just seeing him being hit left and right by Mirio, and he trying to hold himself, but immediately staying focused a little bit, and he teleports on the back of All For One, and immediately, once he realized that, he stabbed the knife directly into the neck of All For One, and immediately take it out, as he looked back into the shield of Overhaul and teleport inside of it, as he said, well, that was kinda new for me, but I managed to do. But before he managed to continue, suddenly, the blood on his knife immediately exploded his face, throwing him out of the shield, while Overhaul tried to protect himself and also Of course, stars and stripes, as immediately all of them just being blown away and Overhaul getting a lots of damage, but he managed to just put himself back together and also doing the same thing to Stars and to Stain, as immediately he said, "What the fuck happened?" As after that, immediately All For One looking at them after Mirio jumping by their sides to see if they are okay, as immediately All For One said, "Do you really think that I'm not prepared for something like this? Do you like it? I call it exploding blood. You will not be able to take my blood anymore, Stain, so I wish that you are ready to die," as he immediately holding his right arm in front of him and getting ready to throw 1,000,000% of air cannon into them, as immediately Mirio just looking at them, he tried to, of course, tell them to run away, and after that, of course, Stars telling, just taking the order of Stain of teleportation and pistol it upon herself to teleport all of them a little bit away. As she managed to do that, and immediately they managed to get out of the way of the attack of All For One, while Mirio still standing in front of him, as All For One said, "What's the point of this fight anymore? Why don't you just die, Mirio? Look around of you. All hope has lost, and everyone is shaken in fear, and all of that just because I am here. So why don't you just fall on your knees, and maybe, just maybe, I will gonna forgive you if you just let me take your quirk." As after that, Mirio said, "Like, I will just gonna do that." As immediately he going flying on All For One and immediately said, "Too bad. Well, I can't really touch you, but you know who I can touch?" As he immediately point on the heroes that are just protecting themselves, and after that Mirio said, "No, you're not," as he immediately just shooting his air cannon into them, and immediately the barrier of the heroes, of those heroes, are not able to stand any of this attack, even if they all just protecting each other and just combining their powers. The power of All For One is just too much for them, and immediately he just managed to throw an air cannon to destroy their shield, and immediately the heroes start to get injured, and some of them are even dying and everything. Immediately Overhaul seeing this, he immediately go by their side to start healing the other heroes, and after that immediately Mirio just looking at All For One, and All For One said, "Now your friend Overhaul will not be able to help you if he will just gonna heal everyone, right?" As after that Mirio said, You really are a monster." As after that immediately All For One said, "Oh, you think? I thought that you already know that I am not a human. I am the Demon Lord, and I will be the new ruler of this world, no matter how much I will gonna have to take of power from anyone that's around me, no matter how many people that I will have to kill, or how many bodies should I take. I will be the I will be the king of this new world, no matter what do you want to say, or whatever are you going to do. I will be the god." As after that, immediately, Mirio said, "You are a psychopath, and I'm gonna stop you." As he immediately going flying into All For One, and immediately All For One said, "Well, let's see what you can do." As he immediately holding his right arm in front of him, but before he shoot it, he just teleported behind Mirio, and Mirio wasn't expecting this, as he just shooting an air cannon into the back of Mirio, as immediately Mirio just having such a giant hole inside his stomach. As after that immediately he just fall into the ground, and All For One just looking at him and said, "You think that you could defeat me? You really are an idiot. No matter how many times you will gonna hit me, I will just gonna regenerate. No matter how many attacks that you will gonna throw at me, I will just gonna block them with my own attacks. No matter how many times that you will gonna try to trick me, I will just gonna teleport out of your sight. You can't defeat me, and I already defeated you." As after that, Mirio just looking at All For One, and he started to smile. As after that, Mirio said, "Well, you defeated me, but can you defeat him?" As after that, All For One said, "What are you talking?" But before he managed to continue, he see the body of Mirio just turning into a weird looking gray goo. As after that, he said, What the? Wait, this is one of the clones of Twice? Where is that?" But before he managed to continue, from behind of him, someone wrapping his hands around his neck and immediately holding him, as All For One just feeling a massive amount of power going directly into his body. As when he tried to look closer, he only see Harry, the little girl, just holding him with her horn just shining, and also Miri just from behind trying to hold All For One, and Eraserhead from far away is just looking at All For One to make sure that he will not gonna try to use any of his quirks, as he said, "How did you?" As Miri said, "I told you. Maybe you have a lot of quirks, but also we are a team and we can work as a team while you are alone." As immediately All For One trying to use his quirks, but he just can't help himself. He just being erased by, of course, Eraserhead on the roof, and Eraserhead is just trying to hold himself, trying to hold as much as possible of his eyes, as much as, as long as possible, so he will not gonna just be the reason for the death of a little girl and Miria, as he just start to cry, and even crying blood, as he said, come on, just already kill that idiot." As immediately inside All For One had said, no, I'm not gonna end up like you, not in this. But immediately he being taken into his own dark dimension, into the endless zone, as All For One said, no, damn it. As after that, Izuku from behind, he said, "What? Do you have a problem?" As All For One turning around to see that the only thing that left from Izuku is just half of his body. As after that, All For One said, "You still here? I thought that." As Izuku said, "You thought that I just disappeared?" As immediately Izuku body start to turn back into normal. He start to regenerate from the power of Eri, just taking him back, turning All For One into the point where he wasn't even existed inside Izuku head. As he immediately said, "You are." As Izuku said, "Yup. And maybe you should look at yourself, because you start to get erased." As after that, All For One looking on his right arm to see himself start to turn into dust, as he said, "I'm not gonna end up like here." As he immediately jumping on Izuku to attack him, using one of his quirks immediately, but before he managed to throw a punch into Izuku's face, Izuku just dodging this attack into the left and said, "Air claws," as he immediately slashed the chest of All For One, pushing him backwards. As after that, Izuku stand up and said, "Dabi told me that air claws will be such a useful thing, and I have to thank him for this idea." As after that, Izuku said, "But do you know who else should I thank?" Mirio and the other successors of One For All. As after that, All For One said, "What are you talking about?" As Izuku said, "You are alone. No one is by your side. Well, maybe I was in your place. But just like a lots of people that you used before, I also was one of your victims. And they all want to see you dead. Maybe they hate me, maybe they doesn't like me, but we all have one thing that we all share. We all hate you." As immediately All For One start looking around Izuku and around of him to see all such a black figures all around of him, just surrounding him from every direction. As All For One said, "These are," as Izuku said, "Yes, those are the people that you took all their quirks from. Just like you said before, taking a quirk from a person is taking their personality too, or some of them too. So they all were just living inside your body, suffering, being forced to watch you while you are just using their powers in the wrong way, and just making them see you killing everyone that around of you using their own power. And I'm sure that right now they are really angry on you." As after that, All For One said, I will not. But before he managed to continue, Izuku come closer to him and throwing a punch into his face, breaking his mask, as he said, "You already done. But you know what? As much as I want to kill you, those people want to kill you more than I am. They really want to see you die. So it's all for you." As after that, Izuku just gets back a little bit, and after that, All For One said, no, I am your master. You can't do this to me. I am." But before he managed to continue, all the black figures start going into All For One, ripping him apart, taking everything apart of his body, just using their quirks to disintegrate him and killing him, taking his, breaking his bones, taking his flesh, and just immediately just making him suffer, as Izuku just hearing him screaming on the top of his lungs. And in the end, All For One just disappeared. and all the rest of the black figures are just standing on whatever have left of his body, as they are just surrounding Izuku right now, and they all just looking at him. As Izuku said, "What? Do you want to kill me too? Maybe I am his son, but he also used me, you know?" As after that, immediately one of them come closer to Izuku and said, "They doesn't want to kill you, Izuku. They are just want to thank you for helping them." As Izuku looking in front of him to see, of course, Mirio personality. Since Mirio has got One for All from a long time, he also, some of his personality has been going inside One for All too. As Izuku said, "Mirio, oh, it seems that you are alive in the real world, huh?" As after that, immediately Mirio said, "Yeah, it seems so. Well, can you give me back One for All when we are going, out of here?" As Izuku said, "Sure thing, of course I'm gonna give it to you. I doesn't want it anymore." As after that, Mirio said, "Well, thanks Izuku, but what will gonna happen now?" As Izuku said, "I need to take my punishment in tar dress. Maybe they will gonna execute me, but it's the only thing that I deserve." As after that, from behind Mirio, more of One for All successors come closer, and one of them being Nana Shimura, as she said, "Well, either way, maybe you are was All for One's son, but thanks to you, he's right now dead, so you should be proud of yourself. You ended up a terror that was running on this earth for about 200 years. And I'm happy that I know you. Maybe I still hate you a little bit, but, people can change. Even villains." As Izuku said, "Thank you, everyone." As after that, Mirai said, "Well, looks like that you are getting away from here." As Izuku looking on his body and seeing himself start to just disappear and turn into a white color, as Mirai said, "Well, can you, tell All Might that tell hello to All Might for me?" As after that, Izuku said, "I'm gonna tell him that. Well, goodbye, Mirio." As after that, Izuku just disappear. And in the real world, that was just inside Izuku mind, it was just about like 2 seconds, or maybe even less or more. As after that, immediately All For One just fall on the ground and Mirio taken Eri away. And after that, he just taken her away and flying off into, of course, a little bit away by the side of Overhaul, so he can see if All For One is still alive or something like that. As immediately All For One starts standing up and he starts, just touching the back of his head and said, "Ouch, that is really hurt." As after that, we are just getting ready to fight, but immediately Izuku turned around and said, "There is no need to fight, it's me." "Alright, everyone, just calm down." As after that, Mirio said, "Oh, wait, Izuku?" As Izuku said, "Yeah, it's me, Mirio." As after that, Mirio was about to come close, but immediately he stopped in his way. As Izuku said, "Wait, are you still think that I am All For One? Alright, just put the quirk cancelling device on my hand." As after that, he just put his hand behind his back and immediately sit on the ground. As they actually put the quirk cancelling device on Izuku's hands, and after that, everyone start finally getting relieved that All For One finally died. As after that, Biari said, "So is he dead? Is he dead? Did we?" As Izuku said, "Yep, he's dead." And I'm so thankful for you for helping me, Mirio. I'm really thankful. As after that, the heroes start, getting a little bit happy about this and everything, while Overhaul and Stain are still by the side of course, Stars and Stripes. But before they managed to run away, immediately one of the heroes just put a quirk cancelling device on their hands too. As after that, Stain said, "Can you at least let me come closer to him? I want to talk with him." As after that, immediately the police officer said, "Sorry, but we are." But before he managed to continue, All Might coming closer and said, "Alright, Stain, you deserve to talk with him." As after that, Stain just looking on All Might and said, "Thank you." As immediately he coming closer into Izuku and said, "Izuku." As Izuku looking into Stain and said, "Oh, Stain, I really..." As immediately Stain kicked him in his face and said, "Next time, don't be an idiot and stop going into the dark path. How many times should I tell you not to go after someone in the street? Just get out of the problems." As after that, Izuku said, What do you think that do you really think that I wanted to be controlled by my own father? The problems are the things that coming to me. As after that, Stain said, "Don't give me any excuses. Now, because of you, I am in Tardress, and you will gonna be there too." As after that, Izuku said, "Well, whatever. But at least, thank you for helping me." As Stain said, "Yeah." And immediately he coming closer into Izuku and get him closer into him and said, "I'm happy that you are came back." As after that, he just hugged him. Immediately after that, All Might coming closer into Izuku and said, "Well, young Midoriya, is that you?" As Izuku said, "Yeah, All Might. I know that maybe both of us are not on the best terms, but can you at least give me the chance to give you back one for all?" As after that, All Friends said, "Wait, you really want to?" "Yeah, I just want to give it back to you. Please, just let me give it. Just to prove that maybe you can trust me, or not really trust me, just to prove that I'm trying to change." As after that, Mirio said, "Well, if you really want to do that, then alright." As immediately, they just getting hold of Izuku and taking the quirk cancelling device off of his hand, as Eraserhead is just preparing at any moment if he will gonna try anything funny. As immediately he just put his hand on Mirio's head and told him to relax, and immediately gave him back one for all, and also an extra little thing. As Mirio said, "Thanks, Izuku, but why do I feel a little bit weird? I feel like there's something in my vision." As after that, Ulfra said, What have you done?" As Izuku said, "Why don't you try to go intangible?" As after that, Mirio just do that, and immediately, once he fall into the ground, he just able to feel everything around of him. He's able to see and to sense the people around of him. As he said, after going out of the ground, he said, I can sense the people around of me. What is there?" As Izuku said, "It's like a little quirk that I call it Six Senses. It's a quirk that make you able to sense anybody around of you. It's just, I thought that it will gonna be useful for you since you are really not able to see or smell or just hear anything or even breathe when you use your quirk, so it will gonna be useful." As Mirio said, "Thank you." As after that, he just used one for all and started flirking some yellow electricity around his body. After that, everyone started getting relieved, and Izuku just looking behind the leg of Mirio as he just see a little girl being Eri. As Izuku said, "Eri?" As Eri coming out of Mirio leg and said, "Are you okay?" As Izuku said, "I'm okay, thanks for your help." As Eri coming closer into him and start crying said, "Thanks for trying to save me. So I thank you so much." As after that, Izuku said, "No worries. Thanks you for saving me." As after that, Eri said, "Will I be able to see you in the future?" As after that, Izuku said, "Well, if you want to. I mean, you have a white hair and red eyes, and I also have white hair and red eyes, so how about I be your big brother?" As after that, Eri said, "A big brother? You mean, how exactly a big brother?" As Izuku said, "A big brother is one that protects his little sister, but I really will not be able to protect you since I'll be in prison." As after that, Mirio said, "I'll make sure to get her to see you from time to time." As after that, immediately, the chief of police said, "Well, sorry for ruining the fun, but we have to get you into Tardress, Midoriya." As Izuku said, "I understand." As after that, immediately, of course, Mirio said, "Can we go to Prince? Can we also go to, police officer?" As after that, police officer said, "All right, you can go too." As after that, Mirio said, "All right," and immediately, Eri said, "Well, I want to go too. I want to see Big Brother." As after that, the chief of police said, "Is this a good idea, All Might?" As All Might said, "Let her go with them. It will be. Just let her go." As after that, immediately, the chief of police said, "All right," and immediately, he just got hold of Eri and put her inside the truck, and also got Stain and Overhaul, Mirio, and another police office inside the truck, as he stayed behind because he wanted to do some other things with the heroes and of course the news reporters. As while that happening inside the truck, Izuku being taken away, and right now in front of him is sitting Mirio, and by the side of Eri, and also by the side of the police office. And by Izuku's side is Stain and Overhaul. As after that, immediately the police officer said, "So, Mirio, how was your fight? As Mirio said, oh, yeah, it was kinda interesting. It was really hard, but Izuku, you really put up a great fight. Which make me wonder, do you have all for one? As Izuku said, well, yeah, I have it, but I will never gonna take anybody quirk. Not anymore. As after that, Mirio said, well, that's a good thing. As after that, the police officer said, well, I'm happy that you came back, Izu. As immediately Izuku said, oh, well, thank you, but why did you call me? But before he managed to continue, the police officer immediately go on Mirio and chop him on his neck, knocking him off immediately. As after that, Mirio just fall on the ground and being knocked off. As Eri said, Mirio, what are you? As immediately the police office take off his hat and said, oh, I'm really happy to see you back, Izu. As Izuku said, wait, you are? As the police officer face start to be covered by a weird looking gray goo, and immediately Toga coming out of the disguise and said, oh, I'm really happy that you finally came back, Izu. As after that, she just hugging him and kiss him on his face. As after that, Izuku said, what the fuck? What do you do here? What are you doing here? As after that, Toga said, well, of course, I'm gonna take you out of here with the help of Twice. As after that, Izuku said, Twice? As after that, in front of of course, the guy that, riding this truck is basically Twice wearing a hat, and he just opened the little window in the back of the truck and said, hey Midoriya, it's me, Twice, your best friend, your worst friend, I really hate you. As after that, immediately Stain said, wait, you are going to free us? As after that, Overhaul said, great, I'm gonna, but before of course, Toga, he managed to continue immediately. Toga just stab Overhaul inside his heart, killing him immediately. And after that, immediately, of course, Eri is just looking away, and immediately Overhaul just die. And Izuku said, wait, you were gonna free us, but this is not, as Toga said, shh, don't talk. You and also your little sister Eri, and also I'm gonna free you since you are Izuku master. As after that, Stain said, well, why don't you do it already? As after that, immediately Toga said, now we need to get a little bit away from the city first of all. As Izuku said, how did you? As Toga said, don't worry, I'm gonna explain everything later. As immediately, after a couple of hours, finally, Twice got the car into a very far outside of Japan even, into one of the forests. As after that, immediately Toga just break Izuku chains and also break Stain chains. As after that, Izuku just go down from the truck, and Eri coming closer to him and just hugging his leg. As after that, she said, big brother, this girl is scary. As after that, Izuku said, Toga, what do you want? I'm not gonna work with the League of Villains. As Toga said, who said that I'm working with the League of Villains? I'm working with the heroes, or at least I worked with them so I can save you. Don't worry, Izu. I'm not gonna, hurt you or hurt anyone. I just want to go out with you into somewhere, outside of all of this, and just to live happy with you. As after that, Izuku said, are you serious? As after that, Stain said, well, if that's so, then you should go with her, Izuku. As Izuku said, Stain, but as Stain put his hand on Izuku's head and said, leave the hero killing thing to me. I am the hero killer after all, and you deserve to live a little life. You have gone through a lot, Izuku. I doesn't want you to put some more blood on your hands. Now leave Japan and get out of here and maybe live an honest life and just live like a normal person. As Izuku said, but Stain, as Stain immediately hugging Izuku and said, I'm happy that I know you in my life, even if both of us has gone through a lot, but I'm happy that you're still alive. As after that, Izuku started tearing up and said, I'm happy that I met you. I'm really happy that I met you, Dad. As after that, Stain getting surprised by this and said, Alright, Izuku, how about you go? I'm gonna leave now, and maybe one day we will gonna meet again. As after that, Izuku will swipe away his tears and said, Alright, I hope that we will gonna meet again, Dad, one day. As after that, immediately just Stain jump away from the place, and Izuku swap away his tears, and after that, Toga said, Alright, I have one other surprise for you. As Izuku said, what is it, Toga? As after that, Toga said, come after me. As after that, Izuku, Toga, Twice and Eri got, even deeper into the forest, and in the end, Toga said, "Oh, voila!" as Izuku just looking in front of him to see the left half of his mother dead body still on the ground, just with some flowers surrounding him, as Izuku said, "This is my," as Toga said, "I got it out of the grave, so Eri will be able to heal it, and after that you'll be able to get your mother back. See, I care for you," as after that Izuku tearing up and said, "Thanks, Toga, thanks so much, I really thankful for you," as after that Izuku just hugging Toga so much, so hard, as Toga said, alright, Izu, just stop this," as after that Izuku swept away his tears and immediately kissed Toga as he said, "Thank you so much," as after that immediately Twice said, "Hey, both of you," as Izuku looking back on Twice, seeing him just putting his hands on Eri eyes, as he said, "We have a child here, don't do this in front of a little girl." "Well, you can do it whatever you want, I doesn't really care," as after that immediately Izuku said, "Alright," as he just go down on one knee and said, "Yeah, Eri, could you possibly do something for me?" As Eri said, "What is it, Izuku, big brother?" As Izuku said, "Could you possibly heal my mother?" As after that Eri looking into, the dead body is not really so dead. Toga man, made sure that it will gonna be in a good shape, as, Toga, of course, Eri said, "This is your mother? Do you mean this my mother too?" As Izuku said, "Well, she can be your mother. She's so, so innocent, and will be happy to have a little child like you. So how about you heal her? And after that we can go out of here and just live a happy life. I will be your big brother, and my mother will be your mother." As after that Eri said, alright. As she coming closer into, of course, Inko, and immediately she just touched her head, and immediately start using rewind, as Izuku just looking on Eri with her horns start to glow, and the body of his mother start to glow, and slowly but surely Inko started going back, and her whole body being, morphed again or healed again. As after that Toga, or Eri stops and said, "I done all what I can do, big brother." As after that Izuku said, "That's good, Eri. Mom?" As after that immediately Izuku just looking on his mother, as Inko started opening her eyes and said, "What happened? The last thing that I remember, it was an explosion, and someone was..." "Izuku, are you okay?" As she looked in front of her to see Izuku wearing a weird looking suit, with the guy wearing a stupid mask behind of him, and a blonde haired girl with a little girl with the white hair and red eyes, as she said, "Izuku, what happened, and who are these people?" As after that Izuku looking on his mother and said, "Mom, I'm so happy to see you finally, I'm so happy," as he starts crying and tearing up. As after that Inko said, "Izuku, could you explain to me what happened?" As after that immediately Izuku said, I will gonna tell you everything." As after that Izuku explained everything to her, which immediately it took a long time until the even, nighttime has came on the forest. And after that Inko said, "Oh, Izuku, is that all happened with you?" As Izuku said, "Yeah, I know." As Izuku was waiting for his mother to hit him or something like that, but she just hugged him. And after that she said, "I'm really sorry, Izuku, for everything that happened to you. I'm really sorry. But now we can live a happy life now. Don't worry, I'll make sure that something like this will never gonna happen again." As after that immediately, of course, Eri said, "Is this your mother, big brother?" As after that Inko looking back to see Eri, as she said, "So this is Eri, the girl that helped me?" As she just looking on Eri and said, "Come here." As after that Eri coming closer into Inko and said, "I heard that you want a mother, and Izuku promised you that I will gonna take care of you, right?" As Eri said, "Well, yeah, he told me that you will be my mother." As Inko said, "Of course I'll be your mother. Come here." As she just hugged Eri, and after that immediately Toga said, "Alright, now we should get out of here. I already prepared some things so we can, take a plan out of Japan into somewhere else, into America or just another place. As after that, Izuku said, "I'm really thankful for you, Toga. I just doesn't know how to." As after that, Toga said, "Shh, if you want to thank me, how about we get out of Japan first, because the heroes will gonna come soon and they will just gonna take you out of here." As after that, Izuku said, "Alright." And after that, immediately Toga started leading everyone until they finally got into a plane inside the forest. And Izuku just seeing a plane inside the forest and said, "How did you even manage to get it here?" As Toga said, "Don't question it. I asked Kirigiri for a little help before I even, prepared anything like this." As after that, immediately Twice said, "Don't worry, I'll lead this plane. I know exactly how to fly. Every one of us are dead." As after that, Izuku said, "Alright, let's go." And after that, immediately Twice started, just flying on the plane, with Izuku, Inko, and Toga are just behind. And they are just laughing and enjoying themselves. Toga just sitting by Izuku's side, holding his hand, and Inko just teasing Izuku a little bit about his new girlfriend, while Inko is just talking with Eri and telling her about herself, and Eri is just actually loving Inko. In the end, finally, after 1 month, let's say, Izuku is right now sitting inside his house with Eri, just sleeping on his hand and just, by his side. And right now it's night time. Inko is just making some food while Toga is just, just sitting down by the side of Izuku too. And after that, immediately, of course, Inko said, "Well, everyone, the dinner is ready." As after that, Izuku said, "Come on, Eri, let's go and eat our dinner." As after that, Eri said, "But I'm still sleepy." As after that, Izuku said, "Come on, stop acting like this." As after that, immediately, Toga said, "Alright, let's just eat." As after that, she sat down and start eating with Izuku, Toga, and of course, Inko, and of course, Izuku. As after that, of course, Toga has promised Izuku that she will never gonna kill anyone if she want to live with them, and she actually didn't do that. And she started living with Izuku, Inko, and also Eri. And after that, suddenly someone knocked on the door and said, "I came back, and I got some pizza with us. Wait, you are eating dinner without me?" As after that, Izuku said, "Come on here, Twice." As after that, Twice said, "Alright." As he just closed the door behind him and said, "I got a little gift for the little girl, Eri." As after that, he just gave Eri a little dummy and said, "I hope that you will gonna like it. I just found it inside the garbage." As after that, Eri said, "Thank you, Uncle Twice." As after that, Twice said, "You called me an uncle? This is the happiest moment in my life. I hate you." As after that, Izuku said, "Don't say that you hate a little girl." As after that, Twice taken down his mask and said, "How do you think that do you really think that can just do something like that? You know that I have a split personality." As Izuku said, "Yeah, but try to hold yourself." As after that, Inko said, "Alright, everyone, stop talking on the dinner table and just let's eat." As after that, Izuku said, "Alright." As everyone continue eating, and immediately, this is where we're gonna leave it off, guys. This is the end of the series. Toga has helped Izuku to run away from Japan, and also of course, made Stain get him free so he can make the heroes get on their own side of the story and doesn't get close into Izuku, getting, of course, making them get busy with Stain and his hero killing thing. While that happening, Izuku and his mother, Toga, and Twice and Eri are just all living inside one house. And of course, Izuku managed to just hack into one of the systems of the, of course, banks, and just using his father secret code number into his money inside the bank or somewhere, he just, had some information to get money. While that happening, Twice is just working like a normal person. Toga promised Izuku that she will never gonna kill anyone if she want to live with them and everything like that. Well, I doesn't have anything more to say than Severed was here. Well, sorry about that.